He has been a very busy man this week, the founder of Get Visibility, the executive chairman of Smarttech247, and sitting on the AI Advisory Council for the Irish Government. Will you please welcome back to the stage, Ronan Murphy.
Okay, the AI revolution. There's been a lot of talk about AI today, and I guess I'm quite lucky because with my co-founder in Get Visibility, Mark, and the team, we get to work on cutting-edge artificial intelligence. Smarttech delivers world-class AI to protect some of the world's leading companies and many of you that are here today. And I also get good exposure to AI, both from an Irish government perspective on the AI Council and also working with many of our colleagues in the European Union. So when we talk about an AI revolution, what kind of organizations are we going to see in the future? What does it really take to transform productivity? Well, I believe we are on the cusp of the fifth industrial revolution. Now, I know you're going to ask the question, well, how the hell do we get to the fifth industrial revolution? Is this like, the Fast and the Furious, where there's, I think, 10 versions of that movie? Well, if you think about it, we had the steam revolution in the 1760s. We had the electrical revolution in the 1870s. We had, where are we going? We had the computation revolution in the 1950s. And then arguably, you could say the role of the internet, IoT, mobile internet, and basically the whole bunch of stuff that happened in the early noughties was the fourth industrial revolution. But around 2020, just at the start of COVID, many of you in this room would have been tasked almost overnight with figuring out digital transformation. Quick, get everybody working from home, get everyone out of the office. Security almost became a second thought. And of course, following that, we had breakneck speed advances in artificial intelligence, in compute, in data sets. And I believe that this set the stage perfectly for what we're now going to experience, which is the fifth industrial revolution. And a bit like electricity, I believe it's going to transform every single industry on planet Earth. So, I'm sure you're all familiar with Microsoft Excel. I want to give a simple example. And I'm sure some of you are pretty good at it, right? But you get those really annoying people who are like experts at pivot tables, right? Like Raluca Sachano. I mean, she came in today and she showed me immediately her amazing pivot tables in Excel. But now you're going to see one of these new interns who's going to come in and say, you know what, I don't need to know how to build pivot tables in Microsoft Excel. I'll just take the raw data, I'll drop it into a GPT, and not only will it bubble up all the algorithms that I need to get the most out of my Excel document, it'll also top and tail it with beautiful pictures and a presentation. And you then have another set of people that are even smarter again, and they'll use something like Notebook LM. And they'll just upload sources, raw sources of data, and they'll actually talk to an AI that's grounded now in their own particular data set. So they're now having conversations with the world's smartest analyst about the exact data set which is most important to them. And this is the epitome of a revolution. Make no mistake about it, improved decision-making, efficiency based on automation, productivity gains, and personalized services and experiences. And this whole time, we have the battle of the hyperscalers who are investing billions of dollars building LLMs and all looking for dominance at the very highest levels to our benefit. But this is a soap opera like nothing I've ever seen. In a blaze of innovation, we saw DeepSeek exploding onto the scene a few months ago with the launch of their R1 model, and it shattered the long-held belief that the US had absolute supremacy in AI. Sorry to all of our American friends here. But this just wasn't a breakthrough by DeepSeek. It was a seismic shift. It was a real wake-up call to the world that China was now hot on their heels. It challenged the status quo, And as a result, the NASDAQ took a hammering and NVIDIA fell by 17%. Now, DeepSeek alleged that they only spent $6 million building this model. But when you analyze it, maybe they got a few GPUs sneakily in the back door from Singapore. And I think it's more of a bold marketing claim than actually a transparent breakdown on the cost of building their model. But nonetheless, they've really, really shaken up the market. But even despite what they've done, the guys in DeepSeek have people hot on their heels too. The last week in the world of AI has seen some phenomenal innovation. So there's a division in Alibaba called the Qwen team, and they've been cooking up a series of open source large language models. Now, their new release is called QWQ32B, which is Qwen with questions. And this is really important because this is seriously catching everybody's attention because it claims to match all of the functionality of DeepSeek R1, which is a big-time reasoning model, you know, which if you don't take the $6 million price tag as bona fide, probably cost billions to build. It's 671 billion parameters, and they're saying that this model is better. Now, why is this so important? Because if this model is producing better or similar results on math, on general reasoning, on coding, and it only requires a fraction of the resources, 24 gig of virtual RAM to run within an organization, which is peanuts, versus the R1 model, which is 1,500 gigs of virtual RAM. So this is really putting the cat amongst the pigeons, and it's asking the question, is small now the new big in this relentless AI race? So I think you can't really talk about AI without talking about what happened in Paris over the last couple of weeks, where we had the great and the good, the political, the business leaders, all descended on Paris for the AI summit, which in my opinion, I don't know if you've watched it, made for absolutely compelling viewing. Macron opened the conference with a montage of deepfakes of himself, just acknowledging how AI is so powerful and how it can actually disrupt. But the conference was overshadowed by the world's richest man, Elon Musk. During the event, he had his team make a $100 billion bid to acquire OpenAI, only to be met with a brutal rejection from Sam Altman, who said to Bloomberg, I was watching it live, that he felt it was an attempt to slow them down, and he felt that Musk was insecure and had some issues. This then spilled over onto X, where they exchanged barbs at one another. So that was the drama, which was entertaining. But what I found more interesting was J.D. Vance. Now, whatever your opinion of the vice president, he is an incredibly eloquent speaker. I thought his speech at the summit was absolutely fascinating. But what it definitely symbolized is that there's a fracturing consensus on the approach to AI. The vice president made it very clear that the United States of America was not going to be held back from leading the AI race by focusing on safety or regulation. One interesting quote he made was, we need international regulatory regimes that foster the creation of AI technology rather than strangle it. And we need our European friends in particular to look to this new frontier with optimism rather than trepidation. I tend to agree with a lot of what he said in that speech. But unsurprisingly, given the vice president's exceptionalism, the US declined to sign the Declaration on Sustainable AI, which was published at the end of the summit. The failure to achieve any form of consensus on a document which is really uncontroversial highlights that there is two very differing paths when we come to AI. In the EU, we've just had the introduction of the EU AI Act. It's landmark legislation. It aims to kind of have a comprehensive set of guidelines, transparency, fairness, accountability. And I mean, a lot of it makes sense, right? You're looking at, how would you use biometric data of you people in this room for profiling? Where's the risk? Why should we take this seriously? How do you want your data used? So, I mean, it does make a lot of sense. But we know that data, like we spoke on the panel earlier, is at the heart of all AI. You need two things. You need GPUs and you need the data. Now, NVIDIA do the GPU part really well. But as organizations accelerate modernization, as there's a growing need to reimagine how they're going to use their data with all of this new technology, they have to consider they're outsourcing the management of their infrastructure to the cloud. They're going through digital transformation. They're going through platform as a service. They're looking at software as a service. So when you think about it, these new consumption modes of technology outsource the technology and software. But the only layer that consistently remains the responsibility of the organization is the data itself. The data is the unifying layer. The enterprise, your enterprises are focusing on it. The regulators are focusing on it. AI needs it. It's its oxygen. And the hackers want it. So data is incredibly important. But I think we have to ask the question, how do we want to allow these technologies to manifest to their full value? How do we allow AI to become part of our lives in a meaningful way without compromising the integrity, the security, and the privacy of our companies or ourselves or our families? And to make it a bit more personal, I want to share a video with you, which will hopefully make you consider the importance of data in the greater scheme of society.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. It's me, Ella. Well, a digital version of me. Just a bit older. Amazing what technology can do these days, isn't it? All you need are a couple of pictures, like the ones you share on social media, where they can be taken and used by everybody. I know, for you, these pictures are just memories. But for others, they are data. And for me, maybe the beginning of a horrible future. A future where my identity can be stolen just like that. Where I can go to prison for things that I would never do. Imagine my credit score being destroyed, Dad. Or my voice copied to scam you, Mom.
Mom, I'm in trouble.
I need you to send me money, please. I don't want to become a meme, humiliated by everyone at school.
Kill yourself, you fucking loser.
And I certainly don't want this. What you share online is like a digital footprint that will follow me around for the rest of my life. I'm telling you this because I know you love me and would never do anything to harm me. So please, Mom, please, Dad, protect my virtual privacy.
So, not the most pleasant video in the world, but I definitely think it's thought-provoking because I think AI risk management, while it's very easy to say, You know, we don't want regulation, we don't want safety, we want to be able to drive ahead, and we want to be the leaders in AI at no matter what the consequences be. I do believe that there is a degree of regulation required for AI. I don't believe it's required at the R&D layer, but definitely at the application layer. So AI risk management, I fundamentally believe, is going to be the biggest sector in our industry over the next 15 years. When we look at the cost, the fiscal implications of this, it's unfortunate to say that the good guys are not winning. Cybercrime is growing at an exponential rate. 6 trillion in 2022, 10.5 trillion in 25. Data breaches are up 72% since 2021. And AI and cybersecurity, I think it's a double-edged sword. I think we'd mentioned this in the panel earlier. For every good piece of innovation that's delivered, there are the consequences of the bad guys using this technology, being more nimble and finding the low-hanging fruit from people out there who are easily susceptible to clicking on the link or answering the Skype message or falling for some other scam that makes it easier. So the AI paradox, we touched on this as well. AI for good or AI for evil? The one thing I know is that all of the AI out there now, the nefarious AI, it has one objective. It's the data. Because if it can get your data, that is their very best way to extort the victim in terms of crypto or further exploitation. So if I were to stand back and look at how organizations like Smarttech247 are positioning it, they have the world-class, best-in-class security operations center. And that'll look at your continuous monitoring, your prevention detection, your threat intelligence, your incident response, your reporting, your compliance management. But Raluca and the team know that data is now the prize, and that data is complicated. And that data, even within an organization, can mean different things to different people. So there's a layer of complexity around data. So you're seeing them introducing another acronym, not that the industry needs another acronym, MDDR, Manage Data Detect and Respond. And that's where they're helping organizations to contextualize data across departments, across the cloud, across endpoints, and across the network shares, and allowing the SOC to now actually look at the business context that underpins the data within the organization. So you can imagine, and again, it was a really good example given by the lady earlier when she said they had a ransomware attack and what it felt like. The way the SOC is now moving is evolution into data detect and respond. So if a document is a document which represents value to an organization in terms of regulated content or some other type of data that's important, they now have the ability within a security operations center to understand that and track it. It's part of why we in Get Visibility decided on the acquisition by ForcePoint, because we had built technology that allowed organizations to contextualize and understand data. ForcePoint are the original architects of data security at the edge, so data loss prevention, CASB, SWIG, and SASE. So it was a match made in heaven, and again, more acronyms, but where the data landscape is moving is cloud security posture management, the data security posture management, now to the launch of data detect and respond, which is the real-time ability for you as an organization to enforce a policy if that policy is important to you. In other words, if I have a document and that document contains either PII or regulated content or IP, and I do not want that shared with people outside of a specific group, using DDR, that is remedied in real time. So it identifies data, it categorizes data, it classifies data, and it profiles data. Because the way the network has gone now, you're no longer behind the high walls. You are in organizations where data flows freely among cloud apps, and depending on the sensitivity of that data determines the controls you need around it. So what next? Stop giving me the Death Star, Jonathan. What next? So if I were to make 3 predictions, I think you will see multimodal retrieval augmented generation is set to revolutionize technology. It will bridge the gap between the kind of static AI models and real-time context-aware intelligence. So it means that AI systems won't any longer hallucinate on outdated information, and they will become smarter. they'll become more adaptable, and they'll become deeply integrated into enterprise ecosystems. Agentic AI is phenomenal, and it's already becoming commoditized, where you will have autonomous decision makers. Unlike traditional models, they won't require human input. Agentic AI will be able to perceive, plan, act, and adapt in complex environments, automating workflows and optimizing outcomes with constant oversight. And then finally, robotics. Robotics is fascinating, and the speed of innovation is truly staggering. By merging AI-driven intelligence with physical action, we're creating systems that can perceive, adapt, operate autonomously in the real world. You'll see it in precision manufacturing, in autonomous logistics, in AI-powered medical assistance. Robots will extend human capabilities, increase efficiency, and transform entire industries. So, the question was asked, good or bad AI? Well, I guess it depends on your personality and your perspective. I mean, you can watch any number of clips on the internet where your perception of AI will be terrible, like this one, where I think we have a robot in China last week who tries to beat up somebody at an event, and security have to come in and pull the robot away. So obviously, in that type of scenario, you're going to obviously think of AI and say, this is terrible, it's going to kill us all. I tend to see AI more as a force for good, driving progress, enhancing human potential, and creating very good opportunities for society through healthcare and global warming and so forth. So I think it really will come down to your perception of how it's used and how it's implemented. Although I think that video is a profound video, and there will be a degree of guardrails around it. As always, I'll just finish up with a quick quote. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. Sir Winston Churchill. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the conference.
Thank you, Ronan. Thank you, Ronan.